So you got a listing, it's been activated, it's on the multiple listing service, it's there for all other realtors to see, you got a sign in the yard, your clients have gotten all their homework done if applicable, you have all this information ready, you have the house out there. Now what? Well, the waiting game can be an interesting animal. Depending on the client, they are going to be reaching out to you regularly for updates. You could easily set it and forget it, which is probably the worst quality of service you could provide. Or you could be looking to try and be proactive to say, what do we need to do to get this thing moving, to get people into it? So much of this waiting game is about being a coach. How to advise your clients, how to give them feedback, how to help them get the ahas and discoveries they may need to realize to get their house sold. We touched on some of them in the last video, but we're going to revisit them. And first and foremost, we're going to go back to the reasons a property does or does not sell. Price, condition, and marketing. These are the three major themes or topics of conversation you can have with your clients you're listing the property for. So many of the conversations you're going to have are going to revolve around those. Now, let's start with the one that most clients are going to assign blame to for why the house isn't selling. Which one do you think that is out of price, condition, and marketing? Which one are they going to blame for not doing the most work? If you said marketing, give yourself a pat on the back. Most clients are going to chalk up the reason their house isn't selling to the marketing not being enough. Now, I cannot, again, speak to the marketing plan you and or your team has going on. Hopefully, you're doing some regular open houses, which between you and me is not really where a serious buyer comes from who's going to put in an offer. Maybe you've considered some professional photography, which is a really great leg up over the competition to have a professional take some really good looking photos. And now maybe you have a pretty good marketing budget to have an online presence, to have a physical presence in media, in your community. But again, I can only speculate on what your marketing plans are. Here's the facts. And how you deliver this to your clients can be a little tricky. But again, if they've given you permission to not sugarcoat, the facts are that the most serious buyers out there have an agent representing them. Agents have access to the multiple listing service. You have put your home on the multiple listing service for all agents to see, to relay to their clients who are looking for that criteria. We still should have a good differentiating marketing strategy, something that is different than other people. Heck, one of the upcoming ones for us, and this might date the video a little bit, but I'll say it anyway, doing some 3D virtual tours, having the technology so people can tour the house from the comfort of their computer. Maybe that's something you've heard of, maybe that's new to you, but we should always be looking to innovate the marketing game to rise ourselves above competition. But at the same time, the most serious buyers out there have agents, and agents will see this on the MLS. Now, this can be a rude awakening for your clients to just say it so bluntly, but to let them know that the most quality buyers are going to be buyers under representation with other agents. Hopefully that puts them at peace to know by putting it on the MLS and crushing the MLS, we're doing a major part of the marketing right then and there. Now, that's a bit of the marketing approach, and that doesn't always become a pill easy for your clients to swallow. I get it, but it's the truth, and if you can have an honest conversation with them, they'll respect you for it, and that's more valuable than just sugarcoating things. Now the other parts, the other components, price and condition, those are things that we should be prepared to coach our clients on the longer their home sits on the market. The consult we do should prep them for these conversations that are going to be coming up. Based on price, we should be able to come up, based on our comparables, based on our comparables, we should come up with a recommended price, and where they choose to fall within that recommended price range, they're a little bit higher, we should be able to set the expectation of, well, with your permission, if this thing sits for a certain number of days, we need to talk about price reductions. We should be able to feel comfortable about that based on, again, the average days on market of that price range. And heck, there could even be the days on market of all the comparables to refer to. Whatever data you can lean on to let your clients know, look, if we hit this certain days on market threshold, we need to have a conversation about reducing price. Because the comparables, the market is telling us that it is not worth this price after this much time has passed. Price. Prepping your clients on what price reductions need to look like and how frequently or when you should talk about doing a price reduction based on the average days on market. Honest coaching on that is something you need to be prepared to do when you check in with your clients. And then, of course, condition. We do the walkthrough as part of the appointment to get an idea of what's going on with the house, what issues are there. And again, if we get feedback about some issues, some things that potential buyers aren't liking, we need to give that honest feedback back to our clients and let them know that, hey, it might be worth getting this project done. It is a consistent pain point, a consistent hesitation that I'm hearing. Let's talk about doing that to maybe get this home for the price we want to get it for. Or maybe if we do it well enough, we could do a price adjustment where we actually list it for higher. Honest conversations about the condition of the house is something you need to have. And if you've built good rapport, if you've gotten permission not to sugarcoat, clients should be okay with you picking their house apart. I touched on something there that is an art form in of itself. Getting feedback from showings. We have to be hawks because a lot of realtors are disorganized and they will forget to provide feedback to us. So what can we do to foster good relationships with the realtors of our community? What can we do to regularly reach out to them and say, hey, looking for honest feedback on the showing. What did your clients think of it? We want to get that information. That information, that feedback is data for us to relay to our homeowners to help them make discoveries about what they have to do about their house. Just like average days on market and comparable price recommendations, we need feedback as a form of data to coach them on condition. What are the people saying about the house? What is great about the house? What is not so great about the house? And how can we use that to make adjustments as needed? The worst thing you can do is get this house on the market, set it and forget it, and wait for your clients to reach out to you out of the blue. Accidentally, you let 3 weeks go by, and now you have your clients calling you out of the blue saying, what's going on? We haven't heard anything from you, and they're going to feel forgotten, frustrated, and now you are a stereotypical poor communicating realtor. There's a reason we wrap up the consult with setting expectations for how frequently you're going to communicate with them. Once you have that expectation, as we've talked about in the past, you should schedule that in your calendar, you should set a reminder in your CRM, and you should honor those proactive check-ins. Don't leave them in the dark, because when they're left in the dark, that's when they start to get stressed, they start to ask themselves questions, that's when conspiracies start to build in their head. Avoid that by having proactive, consistent communication with them. Remind them the things you talked about in the consult, keep it fresh in their head, and remind them that you were given permission to be honest and to ask for continued permission to be honest when you go to a price reduction based conversation, with a we need to update your house based conversation. When you talk bluntly about marketing, you will avoid headaches if you're proactive instead of letting them reach out to you. Reach out to them before they have that chance. Barring a client who just deviates from what they said they would do and is calling you daily, you should be able to avoid some headaches by proactively following up when you said you would, when you both agreed you would. That is the best you can do to give them quality service as you're waiting for that offer to come in. Now, there's always the exception of the rule. You're going to do everything right, but it just isn't falling into place. You just aren't getting that offer. And that's going to happen, and that's okay. You're not going to bat 1,000. The best you can do, again, is sugarcoat, or not sugarcoat. The best you can do is be honest. Look at your clients and say, look, I don't know what's going on. We've done everything right. The comparables are telling us we're doing everything right. It's just not working out. The The market's telling us the house is worth less than we thought. Maybe the market's changed. We either need to reduce price farther than I thought we'd have to, or again, to be honest, maybe we're just entering a season where it's slowing down. Maybe our best bet is to wait till the next summer. Again, honest, frank conversations are the best policy. And maybe you end up parting ways with a client, but at the very least, when they talk to people about the experience, they may say it's frustrating that we couldn't get an accepted offer, but our realtor shot us straight. They took care of us. They were proactive. It was out of their control. That's the best feedback you could get from someone that you didn't help get an accepted offer for. Now, let's hope you're doing everything right. You're given the coaching because you've made sure the house is in the best condition possible. And because, regardless of condition, you priced appropriately based on comparables and the home's condition. And maybe because you had some pretty good marketing strategies out there, you get an offer. Pretty darn exciting. Maybe you get multiple offers, even more exciting. It is your job to meet with your homeowners and coach them, go over offers with them, and again, your market, how you do things, will dictate what that looks like in the nitty-gritty. You just have to study, get help from your team to get familiar with how this looks. But the presenting of offers and giving them advice typically boils down to what makes the most sense for their story. Some common metrics that you're going to help them be aware of is, of course, the offered price, the date of closing, the type of financing. Is it conventional versus FHA versus VA? Are there any concessions they're requesting? Are they wanting your clients to pay for any of their closing costs, their points? What about any contingencies? Does an offer have a contingency on those buyers needing to sell their current property? Those are a few basic components for you to review from one offer to the next in a multiple offer situation, things for your clients to understand, things to help them make good decisions. How you do that, how that looks, I think good shadowing, good study with your team is the best avenue, not revenue. Geez, words are hard sometimes. The best avenue for you to get better at this. You give your clients your professional opinion after reviewing the offers. They pick what makes sense to them. You make sure the paperwork is fully signed, and now it's your job to help guide this process through to closing, to help your homeowners know what to expect. Some typical things are helping them understand that they need to accommodate any schedules for a home inspector to get into the house, for them to accommodate letting a home appraiser in that the lender needs to send out, so on and so on, helping them understand the negotiating if there's any repair requests made per an inspection contingency or appraisal issues, and then helping them know what they need to do to get ready for closing, helping them know to schedule getting their stuff packed up, ready to move out of the property, helping them know to switch off utilities, lining up if they're making a purchase, if you're helping them with a buy, making sure that's lined up with the closing on the sale of their current home. So many things that it's on you to guide them through. And again, study and shadowing, that definitely is where you're going to need to do that to get familiar with what that looks like. I can only do so much based on how your market works. What you guide them through this, you help them understand what you have every step of the way. You get to closing. Hopefully you have an amazing closing gift. Make it an amazing power of moments-based experience for them after an emotional journey, for them to move on to the next chapter of their life. And now you help them close and get on with their life. I paraphrase that really quick. There's so much to it. Again, so much that I can't necessarily talk about because I don't know your market. But guiding them through this, keeping their story in mind, keeping their pain point, their situation in mind, giving them honest advice, being proactive with them, those mindsets, those practices, that is your best bet to provide excellent service and create some raving fans out of your listings. I hope you have some good tips here to work with. I know this is so much information, and yet there's so much I haven't touched on, I haven't been able to touch on. Rewatch this video, get used to those mindsets, and make sure you're studying, you're shadowing, schedule power hour times, Pomodoro time slots to give yourself time to get into a learning zone and study how this stuff looks. Do that, slow yourself down to study, and you'll be able to speed up and produce more and take care of people faster. Thanks for watching these videos. We are in the home stretch here, not many videos left. Hopefully you're enjoying this stuff.